Mr. Chairman, I do believe we have quorum. This meeting could have been done already. I know you hear me, Mr. Chairman. Gonna be late for his own funeral. Come on, let's start the meeting. I know you hear me.
We can talk next week. I just don't want.
We could start the meeting. It's 11:25, Mr. Chairman.
I'm calling to order this meeting. This is a regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole, of the Council of the District of Columbia. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. The time is 11:28 in the morning, and we are in the Council Chambers, Room 500 of the Johnny Wilson Building. I think before we have the determination of a quorum, I'll ask if any member wants to do a brief serenade. Maybe not. All right. Mr. Cash, would you call the roll to see if we have a quorum?
Chairman Mendelson,
Present.
Councilmember Allen,
Here.
Councilmember Bonds,
Here.
Councilmember Felder,
Present.
Councilmember Fruman,
Present.
Councilmember Henderson,
Here.
Councilmember Louis George,
Here.
Councilmember Nadeau,
Here.
Councilmember Parker,
Here.
Councilmember Pinto,
Present.
Councilmember Robert White. Councilmember Robert White,
Present.
Councilmember Trayon White.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Cash. We have The Secretary's report of committee filings, I'm going to recognize Councilmember Anita Bonds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to waive the reading of the Secretary's report.
Been a motion to waive the reading of the Secretary's report of committee filings. Is there discussion on the motion to waive the reading? All those in favor say aye. Are there any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. We also have the reading of the Secretary's log of introductions and referrals. Again, I'm going to recognize Councilmember Anita Bonds.
Again, Mr. Chairman, I move to waive the reading of the Secretary's log of introductions and referrals.
There's been a motion to waive the reading. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it unanimously. We have five measures from the committee as a whole for markup. 3 are the Historic Preservation Review Board, which I'm going to move in block unless there's an objection, and 2 are to the Board of Trustees of the University of the District of Columbia, which I'll move in block unless there's an objection. And then we have 2 measures that were reported out of the Committee on Transportation and the Environment. With regard to the Historic Preservation Review Board, they are resolutions 26-405, 406, 407. 26-405 is Historic Preservation Review Board Timothy Thomas Confirmation Resolution of 2026. PR 26-406 is Historic Preservation Review Board Lauren McHale Confirmation Resolution of 2026. And PR 26-407 is Historic Preservation Review Board Chris Morrison Confirmation Resolution of 2026. The Historic Preservation Review Board was created by the Historic Landmark and Historic District Protection Act of 1978. This DC law includes a section declaring the purposes behind the legislation, which include to protect and enhance landmarks and districts, which represent distinctive elements of the city's cultural, social, economic, political, and architectural history. To, in turn, safeguard the city's historic, aesthetic, and cultural heritage in order to foster civic pride in the history of the city, to enhance and perpetuate tourism, to bolster the economy, and to generally promote the use of the district's landmarks and historic districts for the education, pleasure, and welfare of the people of the city. The board is composed of 9 members appointed by the mayor after confirmation by the council. The district's law requires that the board be constituted and its members qualified in order to comply with the requirements for a state review board pursuant to the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966. The federal act was enacted as a response to the destruction of older buildings and neighborhoods following World War II and to preserve the history and heritage of the nation. The PR 26-405, all of these were introduced by the mayor or at the request of the mayor on November 14th, 2025. The purpose of PR 26-405 is to confirm the mayor's nomination of Timothy Thomas for appointment as a public member of the Historic Preservation Review Board for a term to expire July 21st, 2028. Mr. Thomas is a Ward 5 resident. At the hearing that the committee held, Mr. Thomas stated that he wants to bring his passion for history and his practical experience to the board to help it achieve increased community engagement and better resource allocation, adding that the history and legacy of the nation's capital should be shared and carried by the citizens of the district. Mr. Thomas is a native Washingtonian and a longtime civil servant, having served most recently as chair of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 5A and vice president of the Queens Chapel Civic Association. The purpose of PR 26-406 is to confirm the mayor's nomination of Lauren McHale for appointment as an architectural historian member of the Historic Preservation Review Board for a term to expire July 21st, 2027. Ms. McHale is a Ward 6 resident. She is president and CEO and former executive director and director of former executive director and director of preservation of the L'Enfant Trust. The trust administers a conservation easement program to prevent demolition or inappropriate modification of historic structures and runs a range of historic preservation programs and educational outreach activities. At her confirmation hearing, Ms. McHale testified that she approaches preservation not just as a technical discipline, but as a tool for strengthening communities by fostering inclusive growth, and that if confirmed, she would bring a balanced, thoughtful, and pragmatic perspective to the board's work. The purpose of PR 26-406 is to confirm the mayor's nomination of Chris Morrison for appointment as an architect member of the Historic Preservation Review Board. He is a Ward 2 resident. The term would expire July 21st, 2028. He currently serves as the managing principal at Perkins Will, a global architectural design firm. He's worked on portfolios, including preservation and adaptive reuse of buildings at Shalom Baranis Associates and as a partner at Cunningham Quill. He has over 30 years of experience in architecture, and his projects have received numerous awards. At his confirmation hearing, Mr. Morrison testified that his extensive experience at the intersection of new and historic building fabrics gives him an optimal point of view to consider opinions on a variety of projects that will come to the board. He pledged to be an advocate for the past, as reflected by the historic context that is central to the district as the nation's capital, while also looking at the needs of the future as that historic fabric interfaces with new design. All three of these resolutions were introduced at the request of the mayor on November 14th, 2025. The committee of the whole held a roundtable on all three of these nominations on December 22nd, 2025. Without objection, I will move the prints and reports for all three in block. Is there discussion? The vote will be on the prints and reports. I forgot to say with leave for staff to make technical conforming and editorial changes. All those in favor of the motion to approve the three with leave for staff, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it unanimously. Madam General Counsel, is the measure legally and technically sufficient for our consideration?
Yes, they are.
And I said the measure, I should have said the measures, and they are. Mr. Assistant Secretary, is direction complete for each, or Madam Secretary? This is so confusing to me. Madam Secretary, is the record complete for each?
Once the reports and hearing records are filed.
And Madam Budget Counsel, I believe these measures don't require a fiscal impact statement because they're confirmations.
They don't have a fiscal impact.
Thank you. Without objection, these measures will be placed on the consent agenda for the February 3rd legislative meeting. Next up are two resolutions, which I'm going to move in block for appointments to the Board of Trustees of the University of the District of Columbia. They are PR 26-433, Board of Trustees of the University of the District of Columbia, Albert Kakoza, Confirmation Resolution of 2026, and PR 26-432, Board of Trustees of the University of the District of Columbia, Amy Latinen, Confirmation Resolution of 2026. Give me a second here. The University of the District of Columbia is both a historically Black college and university and an urban land grant institution formed in 1975 from the merger of the District of Columbia Teachers College, the Washington Technical Institute, and Federal City College. UDC serves as the district's only public university. UDC's mission is to provide an affordable post-secondary education to district residents and to prepare students for immediate entry into the workforce, the next level of education, specialized employment opportunities, or lifelong learning. In furtherance of this mission, a law school was added in 1996 and a community college was added in 2009. The The university is governed by a board of trustees comprised of 15 members. Of the 15, 11 are appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the council. 3 are alumni from either the university or one of its predecessor institutions, and 1 is a full-time student elected by the UDC student body. Each trustee, except for the student trustee, serves a 5-year term, and each non-student trustee may serve 2 consecutive full terms. PR 26-432 would confirm the mayor's nomination of Amy Latinen for appointment as a member of the University of the District of Columbia Board of Trustees for a term to end May 15, 2030. She received her Associate of Arts from Miami-Dade Community College, a Bachelor of Arts from New College of Florida, and a Master of Arts in Public Policy from the University of California at Berkeley. She is a nationally recognized policy leader with over 20 years of experience in federal, state, and philanthropic reforms. While a senior advisor to the Undersecretary at the U.S. Department of Education, she led interagency policy design efforts for President Obama's $12 billion community college initiative, and as an advisor to the Second Lady in the Office of the Vice President, designed and executed the first White House Community College Summit. She serves as Senior Director of Higher Education at New America, where she leads a team of researchers, writers, and advocates committed to creating a higher education that is accessible, affordable, equitable, and accountable for helping students lead fulfilling and economically secure lives. The purpose of PR 26-433 would be to confirm the mayor's nomination of Albert Kokoza for appointment as a member of the University of the District of Columbia Board of Trustees for a term to end May 15, 2029. Mr. Kokoza received his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Brown University and a Juris Doctor from the University of Chicago. He is a retired partner from Ropes and Gray LLP, where he was an active partner for over 20 years, representing Fortune 50 global companies, entrepreneurial startups, national not-for-profit organizations, and research institutions. Earlier in his career, he served as a law clerk to then Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, and as committee counsel to the Labor Subcommittee of the Senate Labor and Human Resources Committee, chaired at the time by Senator Howard Metzenbaum. Both of these individuals, the resolutions were introduced at the request of the mayor on November 26, 2025, and the Committee of the Whole held a roundtable on their nominations on December 22nd, 2025. And as I recall, the committee received no testimony or comments in opposition to either appointment. Without objection, I move both the prints and reports for both PR 26-432 and 433 with leave for staff to make technical, conforming, and editorial changes. Is there discussion on the motion? The vote will be on both resolutions, the prints and reports with leave for staff. All those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it unanimously. Madam General Counsel, are these 2 measures legally and technically sufficient for our consideration?
Yes, they are.
Madam Secretary, is the record complete for each?
Once the reports and hearing records are filed.
Madam Budget Counsel, are the measures fiscal impact statements which don't exist comply with council requirements?
You are correct.
Because fiscal impact statements are not required on resolutions of confirmation resolutions. Without objection, these 2 measures will be placed on the consent agenda for the February 3rd legislative meeting. We'll turn now to 2 measures reported out of the Committee on Transportation and Environment, chaired by Councilmember Charles Allen. The first is Bill 26-59, Tree Preservation Enhancement Amendment Act of 2026. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You introduced Bill 26-59, the Tree Preservation Enhancement Amendment Act of 2026 on January 13th, 2025. It was referred to the Committee on Transportation and the Environment on January 21st, 2025. The committee incorporates the record for a public hearing held on a substantially similar bill introduced in the previous council period, Bill 25-472, the Tree Preservation Enhancement Amendment Act of 2023. The print for Bill 26-59, as approved by the committee on December 18th, 2025, amends the Urban Forest Preservation Act of 2002 to enhance protections for trees in the district. Most importantly, the bill lowers the tree circumference required for a tree to qualify as a special tree in the district from 44 inches to 40 inches, a reduction of 4. Under current law, special trees are legally protected in the district and cannot be cut down or removed unless the tree is hazardous, the tree is a species that is appropriate for removal, which often involves an invasive species, or the person seeking to remove the special tree has paid for a removal permit. Since removal permits are $55 per inch of the tree's circumference, the cost for removing a special tree increases with the size of the tree and acts as a disincentive against the removal of special trees. By lowering the circumference needed to qualify as a special tree, the print will result in more trees in the district qualifying as special trees, discouraging their removal. The print also makes several changes to existing law to ensure that fines and fees for removing special trees and heritage trees remain an effective deterrent for their removal and encourage residents to preserve healthy trees, not just now, but in the years to come. Specifically, the print requires that beginning July 2029, the mayor increases both the permit fees for removing a special tree as well as the fines for unlawful removal of a special tree to adjust for inflation. Similarly, the print requires that the mayor increase the fines for the unlawful removal of heritage trees every 3 years to adjust for inflation beginning in July 2029. Finally, the print also reestablishes the tree fund as a non-lapsing fund, encouraging any money deposited into the fund remains there and can be used to support tree planting and maintenance across the district. The district's urban tree canopy provides numerous benefits to the district, its residents, and our visitors. Perhaps most obviously, the trees are an essential component of the district's natural beauty. But beyond mere aesthetic considerations, urban forests help reduce extreme heat in the district by mitigating the impact of the urban heat island effect. The district's urban tree canopy also improves outdoor air quality by directly removing pollutants from the air. And of course, trees serve as habitats for wildlife in the district. By further discouraging the removal of healthy trees in the district, the print will ensure the district can enjoy more and more of the benefits that come from a vibrant tree canopy. With that, Mr. Chairman, I ask the measure be placed on the consent agenda for the next February 3rd legislative meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember. Are there questions from members? Councilmember Bonds?
Thank you very much, Chairman. I wanted to inquire about provision B under, I guess, money in the fund. It says providing income-based subsidies to assist district residents with costs related to removal and replacement of hazardous trees. Can you help me understand how you then follow by saying, in following purposes, tree planting on private land, and then conducting survival checks of trees planted on public or private land? Can you help me understand how that and what that really means?
I will endeavor to do my best. So I believe what you're asking about are the provisions that are in law today.
Mhm.
So that's part of what we want to make sure the tree fund by the effort that made it non-lapsing or lapsing, excuse me, by making it non-lapsing, we make sure the resources are there. The section 1E you're describing helps make sure that we are focused on allowing for income-based subsidies and making sure we have the resources to do that. And you were help me make sure I understand the concern about the second part.
My concern is providing income-based subsidies to assist district residents with costs related to the removal and replacement of trees. What does that really mean? And what kind of volume do we anticipate? Because in every neighborhood, we have trees. And the goal is always to replace them. My neighborhood, we replaced a tree with an apple tree. The government replaced it with plain old birch tree. And then, of course, my neighbor said, oh no, we want an apple tree. So we went out and we got an apple tree, and we now have an apple tree in its place. So I'm trying to understand the variety and what this really means when you say a subsidy. It's a quaint little example, but I know that in neighborhoods, people are peculiar and they want what they want, so.
People feel strongly about the species of
Yeah.
tree. I agree with you. So again, that's not what's in the print in front of us. It's part of what's DC law currently. So the income-based subsidy, its goal there is to ensure that if a senior on a fixed income or a low-income household has a hazardous tree, but cannot pay for the removal permit.
Gotcha.
Those costs can be subsidized by DDOT. The exact, I think you asked me how many times it's used. I don't have that in front of me, just because it's existing law, not part of this bill, but we certainly can follow up with you and let you know what the examples are. And in our oversight hearing, we always ask DDOT to report out the latest numbers.
I thank you. I'm just curious as to what and how we treat our trees.
But I think the subsidy program is an
Yeah.
important part of it. So
Yeah.
it certainly helps a lot of our households.
So we could have gotten a subsidy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bounds. Councilmember Allen, just to be clear, so the discussion about subsidy is not a provision in this bill.
That's correct. That's current law. So that's not what this bill
All
is
right.
touching or doing.
Are there any other questions from members?
Yes, Chairman.
Yes, I'm sorry, Councilmember Tran White.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to start out by saying I think that it's very important that we care about our environment, which encompasses trees and increases, as you know, the quality of the air, the environment, the wildlife that are affiliated with trees. I guess two of my concerns have been, as we move in this provision, we're moving, I guess, from 44, I believe 44 inches to 40 inches, is the impact, one, around housing. I guess I wanted to know from you, Councilman Allen, how does this impact housing, if any? Because I've heard over and over again that we are trying to, increase housing in this particular area, because these tree provisions, we are preventing, it creates boundaries, or should I say, it's holding people up from getting housing, and how do we balance the trees versus housing for our people? And if this impacts that, do you have a comment on that, Councilman Allen?
Yeah, thank you very much. This does not have any impact on the creation of new housing.
So if there is a tree that need to be removed that fits this criteria, you said it don't have any impact?
I'm sorry, Councilor White, can you repeat that?
So my understanding, this provision changes the threshold for what qualifies as this particular type of tree from 44 inches, is that right, to 40 inches?
That's correct. The special tree designation size goes from 44 inches to 40 inches. So if a tree is currently 41 or 42, today it's not a special tree. After this law goes into effect, it would.
So in areas where there are special trees and projects where housing has to be built, would this change that in any way?
No.
Okay. And I guess my second question was about, we constantly getting calls, especially from seniors, about trees growing in their yard that could just fall in their houses, and they don't have the funds to get them cut down. They don't know what to do because it's not on public property, it's on private property. How does this impact those seniors or people who may not be able to afford whatever the price is per square inch of that tree?
Thanks. It might be somewhat related to the conversation we were having earlier. This does not make changes to the income-based subsidy program, which I think is important. This council has passed that and supported that and funded that. And so that's an important part of what you're describing. For example, somebody maybe on a fixed income isn't able to pay but needs to. So that is preserved. It's not touched at all within this legislation.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Allen, just to clarify, so with regard to special trees, there's not a prohibition on removing them. There would be a fee, but not a prohibition.
That is correct. Special tree is a tree that can be removed and cut down. This just
And if
creates
it's-
disincentives. Ideally, but if someone needs to be able to cut down a special tree, they're able to do that.
Yes. Are there any other questions from members? Hearing none. Madam General Counsel, is the measure legally and technically sufficient for our consideration?
Yes, it is.
Madam Secretary, is the record complete?
Yes, it is.
Madam Budget Director, does the measure's fiscal impact statement comply with council requirements?
Yes, it does.
Is there a fiscal impact?
Yes, there is.
How much?
It's estimated at 297,000 in fiscal year 2026 and 1.2 million over the 4-year financial plan. It's related to the hiring of 3 additional arborists. The bill is expected, once implemented, to also raise some revenue, but they can't be offset until those employees are in place.
Thank you. Without objection, this measure will be placed on the consent agenda for the February 3rd legislative meeting. The last item for consideration, the last legislative measure for consideration is Bill 26-135, Purple Heart License Plate Amendment Act of 2026. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Bill 26-421, the Purple Heart License Plate Amendment Act of 2026 was introduced by Councilmember Anita Bonds on February 21st, 2025, along with Councilmembers Nadeau, Pinto, Henderson, Robert White, former Councilmember McDuffie, and myself. The bill is referred to the Committee on Transportation and the Environment on March 4th, 2025, and the committee held a public hearing on the bill on November 13th, 2025, and the committee considered and voted on the print and report on December 18th, 2025. The Purple Heart is one of our nation's oldest and most recognizable active military decorations. The Purple Heart was first introduced as the badge of military merit in 1782 by General George Washington. The original badge of military merit was awarded to only 3 soldiers before it fell out of use. It was not revived until February 22nd of 1932, the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, when the Department of Defense established the Purple Heart Medal through a general order and gave the decoration its modern name. Now, the Purple Heart Award is presented exclusively to service members who have been wounded, killed, or have died after being wounded by enemy action. According to the National Purple Heart Hall of Honor, more than 1.8 million Purple Heart medals have been presented to service members since the award's establishment. And interestingly, the Purple Heart bears the family coat of arms of George Washington, meaning that every Purple Heart bears the flag of the District of Columbia. The print before us amends the District of Columbia Revenue Act of 1937 to require that the mayor has to design and issue Purple Heart license plates to a recipient of the Purple Heart or their surviving spouse, so long as they have not remarried. The print strikes language from the introduced bill that would allow a child of the Purple Heart recipient to obtain the plate based on public testimony the committee heard during the hearing. The print sets a one-time $10 application fee and removes a provision from the introduced version that would have required a $10 annual display fee to ensure the license plate is affordable for any qualifying veterans or service members. Finally, the print requires that the fees collected from the Purple Heart license plate issuance, alongside fees from other veterans' license plates, be deposited into the Office of Veterans Affairs Fund. This fund supports programming and services for the District of Columbia veterans and their families. There are approximately 17,000 veterans living in the district, and hundreds may be eligible to receive this, allowing them to proudly display their service and sacrifice. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I ask the measure be placed on the consent agenda for the February 3rd, 2026 legislative meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen. Are there questions from members? Madam General Counsel, is the measure legally and technically sufficient for our consideration?
Yes, it is.
Madam Secretary, is the record complete?
Yes, it is.
Madam Budget Director, does the measure's fiscal impact statement comply with council requirements?
Yes, it does.
Is there a fiscal impact?
No, there's not.
Without objection, this measure will be placed on the consent agenda for the February 3rd legislative meeting. The remaining item of business is really just to present the schedule for public oversight hearings on the fiscal year 2025-26 agency performance and expenditures. The schedule was circulated, I believe, with the agenda, and if not, it was separately circulated by the budget office, but it's also on the council's website. And it is the schedule for agency performance, January 21st through March 6th, 2026. Are there any questions or comments from members? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did have a question in terms of if a committee is, as a result of the vote later today, gaining an additional agency, who should we coordinate with about pre-hearing questions, but also room availability for additional hearings?
With regard to pre-hearing questions, I believe that the Committee on Business and Economic Development staff sent the pre-hearing questions in December and has received answers. Now, it may be that there will be some additional questions that will want to be asked, and that would be up to the new committee chair. With regard to the schedule, Madam Budget Counsel?
April Caraway in our office.
Okay, great. Also, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted, nope, I'll leave it alone. Thank you.
I
Mr.
would
Chairman.
expect that within the the constraints of time and days, that there will be flexibility in the budget office for scheduling hearings. Yes, Councilmember Lewis George.
Thank you, Chairman. My question was in reference to bills that have been re-referred. Will you be doing re-referrals as a result of what will be happening later on with committees?
Yes.
Okay,
I hope to have those on the February 3rd log.
okay. And if we have suggestions for referrals, would you like those in writing beforehand?
Would I like them? No.
Will you accept
I will
those?
consider all input.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilmember Bonds.
Just very quickly, would like to get an indication as to when the updated schedule will be published. I understand it's not published every week, but would like to know when the updated schedule will be published.
And Budget Council.
An updated schedule will go out today.
Today.
And then typically it's updated every Tuesday if there are changes. And it'll be up on the council website as well as filed.
All right, so there should be an update from today.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
And that's important for the public to understand. So the schedule of agency performance oversight hearings is on the council's website. It will be updated. It will be updated from time to time. And so the public can go to the website to see the updates.
And the second page every time lists what's changed, separate from the schedule itself.
All right, you probably know why I was asking, but thank you very much.
I do want to emphasize also that the committees, if they're affected by the reorganization that will happen at today's legislative meeting, they should reach out to the budget office
Okay,
they should affirmatively, actively reach out to the budget office to schedule an additional hearing if they need that.
thank you, Chairman.
If there's nothing further with regard to the schedule, there will be nothing further with regard to this meeting. The next legislative meeting, so we have an additional legislative meeting immediately following this meeting. Give me a second. We will have a additional legislative meeting immediately following this committee of the whole. The next regularly scheduled legislative meeting is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. There was a question over here.
I'm just going to say, I know the ceremonial for Director Matthew McCullough is already on the consent agenda, but I know in the beginning of our legislative meeting, we always do a moment of silence. And so I was hoping if you could designate that for the Office of Disability Rights Director Matthew McCullough
Okay,
at the legislative meeting, please.
okay.
Thank you.
The time is 12:03 p.m. We will start the legislative meeting in about 5 minutes, and this meeting is adjourned. Yeah, I'm okay. How are you doing?
Just wanted to remind you that you are invited to our markup today.
I completely forgot. What time?
Well, it's 2:00.
I'm calling to order this meeting. This is a legislative meeting of the Council of the District of Columbia. It's the 23rd legislative meeting of Council period 26. It's also an additional legislative meeting, meaning it's not a regularly scheduled legislative meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. The time is 12:12 in the afternoon. We are in room 500, the council chambers of the John A. Wilson Building. This meeting is being recorded. It's being broadcast on cable channel 13. It's also available on the council's website, which is www.dccouncil.gov. We always begin our legislative meetings with a moment of silence, and sometimes before we have a moment of silence, I make a couple of comments. I was asked to note that Matthew McCullough, who was the director of the Office of Disability Rights, suddenly and recently passed away. We might want to reflect on that as well. There was a police officer who died in the line of duty. Terry Bennett was fatally struck by an automobile on January 7th. He was an 8-year veteran of the police force. There are probably many other folks that I could mention as well, but perhaps we could reflect on that as we have a moment of silence. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Allen,
Here.
Councilmember Bonds,
Here.
Councilmember Felder,
Present.
Councilmember Freeman,
Present.
Councilmember Henderson, Councilmember Lewis George.
Here.
Chairman Mendelson,
Present.
Councilmember Nodell. Here. Councilmember Parker,
Here.
Councilmember Pinto,
Present.
Councilmember Robert White,
Present.
Councilmember Trayon White.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We have a consent agenda and a non-consent agenda. The consent agenda comprises 2 ceremonial resolutions. We could almost vote on them one at a time, except they're on the consent agenda. Are there any changes to the consent agenda? Hearing none. The vote will be on the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. We'll turn to the non-consent agenda. There are 2 measures there. The first is the Council of the District of Columbia member at-large appointment resolution of 2026. This resolution was, noticed last week on January 14th, and a revised version was circulated yesterday. The resolution would appoint Donnie Crawford, Miss Donnie Crawford, to fill the vacancy in the at-large seat on the council that became vacant on January 5th when former Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie resigned. I think all the members know Ms. Crawford. She has worked at the council for a number of years as the director of the Committee on Business and Economic Development. And before that, she had been at the DC Fiscal Policy Institute. In talking with members, I found that there was broad support for Ms. Crawford, and for good reason. She struck multiple members, as a very authentic and sincere, concerned about the business of the district as well as the business of the council. She's clearly knowledgeable about the council, which will be an asset as we go into performance oversight, and more importantly, as we approach the budget I believe in 2 months. So I could probably say more, except as I said, I think members are familiar with Ms. Crawford. I do want to thank, there were in the end about 42 people who indicated an interest in this appointment, and many of them reached out to council members, plural, maybe even all of the council members. And so there was a lot of interest and sincere interest, and I want to thank everyone who was willing to put themselves forward to be considered for this. But as I said, there was broad support from Ms. Crawford, which is why she is the nominee that I am putting forth. So I move the resolution. Is there discussion? The vote. Ms. Lewis, I had a bet that there would be no discussion, and I'm clearly going to lose, but I have to put the money in the pot that goes to the budget, so it's all for the good. Councilmember Lewis George.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to begin by congratulating Donnie Crawford on her appointment as interim at-large council member. Donnie has been an integral part to so much of the work that has been done here at the council over the years and the district more broadly. I have had the opportunity to work with Donnie since her time at the DC Fiscal Policy Institute and throughout her service on the council, that I've seen firsthand the seriousness, the thoughtfulness, and the care she brings to the work. And anyone who knows Donnie knows how deeply she believes in the values that guide her public service, her equity, accountability, and a commitment to improving the lives of district residents. And so those values were evident in her work at DC FBI and have continued to shape her contributions here at the DC Council. The role we hold as council members carries significant responsibility, and I am more than confident that Councilmember Crawford is up to the task. She will continue what she has done for many years, serving the district and its residents with diligence and integrity. And so, welcome, Councilmember Crawford. I share the excitement that so many feel about the service you will continue to provide the city that has raised me, and I wish you all the best and look forward to working alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before the council today is a great opportunity to select a new at-large council member to help us meet the many challenges facing the district and forge ahead in creating a city that is more equitable. The selection of Donnie Crawford to serve in this interim role is both measured and sensible, given her background experience working on the council, chairing a committee, navigating the budget, managing a team, as well as her experience outside of the council advocating for a DC where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. I am thrilled to support soon-to-be Councilmember Crawford and have always appreciated her laser focus on the real issues facing the district and everyday Washingtonians that sometimes, unfortunately, gets overlooked. I'm also excited that soon-to-be Councilmember Crawford lives in Ward 5, and I look forward to her working with her to advance the agenda of building healthy communities across our ward. So I'll just end by saying congratulations again, Councilmember, and I'm confident you're going to be a dynamic leader for the District of Columbia.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was concerned for a second there was going to be no discussion, and this is quite a historic moment, and it's worthy of comments and discussion. I haven't been shy for a very long time that when it comes to vacancies, I feel like it is best when those are put in front of the voters. But the DC Home Rule Act gives us a charge, requires us to make a selection, and I am very proud and glad to be voting in support of the selection today. I also want to thank, as you did, Mr. Chairman, every single person who put their name forward. It was a very large number of individuals who believe deeply in their city, believe deeply in service, and it is not a small thing to put your name forward like that. So to everybody who showed an interest and wanted to be considered, my gratitude for even putting yourself out there for that. I have been impressed with Donnie Crawford for a number of years, like many of us have been, in terms of the work that she has done. I also am glad to know that we have somebody that on day one is going to hit the ground running, that is going to be able to contribute, that is somebody who's going to be able to be a thoughtful leader on this dais in these debates and trying to advance our city forward. And so I think that's going to be a very serious attribute that Ms. Crawford's going to be able to bring to this dais and to these conversations. I also believe we find somebody who believes in service, who believes in integrity, has put that into action, and is going to be able to sit up here and lead in a way that their city deserves. And I think they are going to be able to accomplish that. And all of us, I think, have a stake in making sure that Ms. Crawford is successful. And so I hope all of us look for partnerships, look for ways to be able to do that. Mr. Parker, she does live 1 block away from Ward 6. So while I know you're excited about Ward 5, I'm excited that there's a nearby neighbor of Ward 6 who will be on the dais here as well. But to Ms. Crawford, I'm excited to have you join this team. And I know it's a big step forward, but I know you're capable and ready to do it and look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate Councilmember Crawford to joining the council and this bunch of members and service-minded folks that we have the privilege of working with every day. And you know, in politics, there's a lot of conversation around meeting the moment, and I know that you take that really seriously. And it's equally as important to think about where the moment exists in our arc of the city and how sustainable we need to be when it comes to protecting home rule, when it comes to protecting the safety of district residents, when it comes to ensuring that we have a strong economy with great jobs for our residents and great industry here. And your ability to kind of weigh all of those priorities, I think, is extremely impressive. And makes me very excited to continue working together with you as I have enjoyed from your previous role. I'm also thrilled you'll be serving on the Judiciary Committee, and so look forward to working on that together. And you know, on this dais, we have a lot that we agree on and a lot that we disagree on, but there is much more that unites all of us as council members and our deep love for the city and our recognition that we serve the 700,000 residents who call the city home. They are our bosses. And so welcome to this group. Welcome to the council, and congratulations on this great accomplishment.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Robert White.
Thank you, Chairman, and I want to congratulate Councilmember, soon-to-be Councilmember Donnie Crawford. I think the last time that the council made an appointment was when I was appointed to start my term early, some 9 years ago. But this is very consequential because the decisions made are going to last long beyond the term of this appointment. And I know that Donnie Crawford is a deserving nominee at a very consequential time for the district. In conversations with staff who work closely with her, I heard a consistent message that Donnie is thoughtful, steady, collaborative, and deeply committed to public service. And that's the type of trust from colleagues that matters, especially in a role that demands judgment and leadership from day one. I want to acknowledge, as others have, that there were some incredibly talented and qualified people who put their names forward. And it was a reminder of how much talent and dedication there is in this city. And so while I think there are many people who put their names forward who could have served well in this time, there is no doubt that Donnie Crawford is immensely capable and ready to take this on from her her depth of understanding of how the council works and how the city works. I look forward to collaborating with Ms. Crawford on preserving and protecting affordable housing, strengthening vocational and workforce education pathways, and bringing down the cost of living for district residents because they are demanding things of you on day one. So the council has a responsibility to ensure continuity, competence, and leadership during this interim period. And I fully believe that this appointment meets that moment and positions the council to do serious, effective work on behalf of the city. So I look forward to supporting this resolution.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. This is kind of one of those interesting days. It is not always sometimes you get a chance to do something that has never been done before, and this is one of those times. I know that for some, the process wasn't perfect, but it was the process that we have. And I do feel like we did land at the appropriate person. And so I'm excited to support this resolution today. Former staffers unite. a little bias in terms of Phil, Charles, they get it, they feel us on this. It's just really exciting to see someone be able to grow in their career in this way. So I'm excited to have the opportunity to work together. It is also going to be a very difficult time in the next few months of what the district is facing. We needed a person with a very specific skill set for what is ahead of us. And so I'm very glad that Donnie will be joining us up here today. Well, after we vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Nadeau?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate Ms. Crawford on your appointment and to welcome you to the Women's Caucus. We are very strong. Don't worry. We got your back up here. Very much looking forward to collaborating with you and learning from you throughout the oversight and budget process. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Fruman.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mendelson. I am delighted and enthusiastic to support Donnie Crawford for this position. She is going to be great and great in a very important time. I want to echo things that have been said about some of the other people, many of the other people who came forward, an incredibly talented and committed set of people who put their names forward for this position. We would have been lucky to have many of them. In some ways, I suspect many of us wish that some of those others could be on the council. I will say on that for me, it was 10 years from the day I picked up petitions for my first run to be on the council to the day I was sworn in. And for those folks who are committed to the district, all of those talented folks, I hope you know how much we value the work that you have done, and I hope you will continue, and I am sure you will continue to contribute in lots of different ways to the district. In the meantime, I very much look forward to working with Ms. Crawford in the months to come. Thank you very much. And I also will say, this was a really challenging thing to get done, Chairman Mendelson, and I do think whatever anyone says about it, we landed in a place around which there is broad, enthusiastic support. And so I'm grateful to you for getting us to that place. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Trahan-White?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'm gonna be brief. I did get an opportunity to speak to Ms. Crawford several times, and in me speaking to her, I come to appreciate her intellect, her ability to reason, and her ability to lead and just have a grasp of hitting the ground running on the city council. As noted before, there were a lot of other great candidates who put their name in a hat that wanted to serve in the District of Columbia. I just want to welcome Ms. Donnie and Ms. Crawford, what she brings to the council, and I look forward to serving with her to have equity and inclusion. I even like the comment she made about making sure that Ward 7 and 8 is a priority when it comes to resources in her tenure. So that meant a lot to me as I read that, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Bonds?
Thank you very much, Chairman. I wanted to add my voice to these wonderful comments about our soon-to-be newest member of the council. This is a great day for us women on the dais and for citizens across the District of Columbia. As we all know, the committee that Ms. Crawford has served as legislative director was considered by many of us to be one of the best run committees in the council. And that has a lot to do with her style and her approach, as has been said by many of my colleagues. And I wanted to echo that. In fact, when I saw that she was one of the early candidates, I was intrigued. And I said, wonderful, because that gives us hope in the District of Columbia that those who are considered younger and articulate, great skill set, that they care about public service and that they are willing to step out on the plank and to be considered. So I was really excited about that and even more excited that we've gotten to this day, to this purpose. And congratulations, of course. I want to also add a point that we should acknowledge the years of service that colleague and former at-large council member Kenyon McDuffie gave to our community. He helped to make the district better. So I want us to remember that fact. And then, of course, to thank the 42, 43 individuals who said, I'm available to fill this slot. It says a lot about public service in our community. It says a lot about the value that we have placed on our community. So I'm excited about today, and forgive me for the long-winded comments. Thank you.
You're forgiven. It was quite all right. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Felder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, I want to commend your leadership in managing this process. I know that it was an arduous task and quite a precarious, you were placed in a precarious situation, but I think at the end of the day, you made the right decision on behalf of the residents of the District of Columbia. I also want to commend the 41 other individuals who put their name in the hat, you know, being the newest until 3 o'clock, the newest council member. I know serving your community is no easy feat. I want to tell Donnie how excited I am to work with her in this new capacity. I had an opportunity to work with her while working for her former boss, Councilmember McDuffie. And to be quite honest, she wasn't even my top choice initially throughout this process, but a number of other colleagues were selling me on just how delightful she is, her competency. And when I saw her resume and had an opportunity to talk to her, the rest was history. So I'm really excited for you, for your new journey. And my advice to you prior to joining this body will be these three things. I think the first thing is always put the residents of the District of Columbia first. The second thing will be you're here for a reason, right? Show up. And then last but not least, just be unapologetic in your leadership. So with that, I look forward to you joining this body and working together and make them proud.
Thank you, Councilmember Felder. I believe every member has spoken, which speaks to or confirms what I had said, which is that there is broad support for this appointment. So unless there's further discussion, we have the resolution before us. It is to appoint Ms. Donnie Crawford as a member at large of the Council of the District of Columbia, replacing Kenyon McDuffie to serve through the certification of the results of the special election.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I was going to request a roll call vote.
Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Parker.
Yes.
Councilmember Parker votes yes. Councilmember Pinto.
Yes.
Councilmember Pinto votes yes. Councilmember Robert White.
Yes.
Councilmember Robert White votes yes. Councilmember Trayon White.
Yes.
Councilmember Trayon White votes yes. Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen votes yes. Councilmember Bonds.
Yes.
Councilmember Bonds votes yes. Councilmember Felder.
Yes.
Councilmember Felder votes yes. Councilmember Fruman.
Yes.
Councilmember Fruman votes yes. Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson votes yes. Councilmember Louis George.
Yes.
Councilmember Louis George votes yes. Chairman Mendelson.
Yes.
Chairman Mendelson votes yes. Councilmember Nadeau.
Yes.
Councilmember Nadeau votes yes. Mr. Chairman, there are 12 yeses.
The resolution is approved unanimously. I will note two things. One is, I believe the swearing in is this afternoon, 3 o'clock in these chambers. And the other is that the new council members should recognize that folks will never unanimously be this nice again. So we have a second resolution, and that is Council Period 26 Rules of Organization and Procedure and Appointment of Committee Chairpersons and Membership Amendment Resolution of 2026. I apologize that the title of this is not longer. The resolution, I'll say so moved. The resolution is to, among other things, put the new council member, Ms. Crawford, on committees that former Councilmember Kenya McDuffie was on. That's Executive Administration and Labor, Youth Affairs, Judiciary, and also on the Transportation and Environment Committee. The resolution also appoints Councilmember Anita Bonds as the Chair Pro Tem. And the resolution also takes the measures that were, I shouldn't say measures, the issues, the matters and agencies that were under the jurisdiction of the Committee on Business and Economic Development and distributes them among, I believe it is 7 or 8 committees. Very briefly, the, let's see, where will I start? Committee of the Whole will have the, looking at my notes here, the Chief Financial Officer, the Real Property Tax Appeals Commission, the Multi-State Tax Commission, which I think never meets, cannabis as an issue, and we'll have a subcommittee. The subcommittee will have DSLBD, RFK, except for permitting, zoning, and planning, and bids. The subcommittee will be chaired by Councilmember Felder. The Committee on Public Works and Operations will have the Alcohol Beverage Cannabis Administration and several small boards and commissions, accountancy, barber, cosmetology, professional engineering, and architecture. The Committee on Youth Affairs will have Combat Sports Commission, Commission on Nightlife. The Committee on Health will have Department of Insurance and Small Business, I think that's what DISB is, and captive insurance, as well as the Board of Funeral Directors. The Committee on Transportation and Environment will have the Public Service Commission, the Office of People's Counsel. The Committee on Executive Administration and Labor will have Events DC and Destination DC. Committee on Human Services will have Lottery and the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And I believe that's everything. And I think I mentioned Chair Pro Tem will be Councilmember Bonds. I've moved the resolution. Is there discussion? Did I leave anything? No. Hearing no discussion, the vote will be on the resolution.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilmember Parker.
I have a question for clarification. For Councilmember Crawford, will she also be joining the Committee on Youth Affairs? That was my understanding, but I didn't hear you mention.
Yes.
That. Okay, thank you.
If there's no further discussion, the vote will be on the resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. That completes the business for this meeting. The time is 12:41 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.